We've all had that thought, right? If I could just earn a little more money, all my problems would just poof, disappear. But what if that's completely missing the point? What if earning more isn't the solution at all, but just throwing gasoline on a fire that's already burning out of control? Let's dig into a totally different way of thinking about your money.
I mean, just look at the story of heavyweight champ Mike Tyson. The man earned over $300 million in his career. Let that sink in. $300 million. And yet in 2003, he filed for bankruptcy with $30 million of debt. It's a crazy but perfect example of a huge problem. It's not always about how much you make. The real issue is being able to manage what you've got.
And trust me, this is not just a celebrity problem. Not even close. Check this out. A staggering 78% of American workers are living paycheck to paycheck. That means a massive number of people are basically walking a financial tightrope, no matter what their salary is. So what's going on here? Why does it feel like money just comes into our lives and then vanishes into thin air? All right, so this brings us to our first big idea, the real rat race. Now, when we hear that term, we usually picture some boring, soul-crushing 9-to-5. But the true rat race isn't your job. It's that constant, grinding stress of living right on the financial edge.
See, the real rat race kicks in when your job stops being a choice and starts being a flat-out necessity. You have to keep working just to keep up with your lifestyle or to service your debt. You basically become a hostage to your own spending habits. And any little thing, a layoff, a medical bill, could send your whole world spiraling. So how do we get out? How do we escape this thing? Well, it all starts with a fundamental shift in how we actually see money itself. And understanding this next part is the absolute key to breaking that cycle for good. What even is money, really? When you strip it all down, it's just an expression of value. It's a tool we use to trade the value we create for the value we want to consume. That's it. It's not good. It's not evil. It just is. The moment we stop making money this big, scary, moral thing and just see it as a tool, we can finally start managing it logically. And this brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer. Every single financial thing you do falls into one of two buckets: production or consumption. Production is the value you create. That's how money comes into your life. Think of your job. Consumption is the value you use, and that's how money leaves your life. We're talking every single purchase, every bill, every subscription. So just take a second and think about your own life. Think about your own equation. For most of us, there's a serious imbalance, right? And the very first step to fixing it is getting a handle on our consumption. Okay, let's talk about mastering your consumption. And I'm telling you, this is the most critical first step toward any kind of financial freedom. Before you even think about trying to earn more, you have got to get this side of the equation under control. And if you need proof, just look at this. Even among people earning over $100,000 a year, 1 in 10 is still living paycheck to paycheck. This is all the proof you need that you cannot out-earn a spending problem. If your consumption is out of whack, a bigger paycheck just leads to bigger spending. So how do you actually take back control? It really starts with 3 pretty simple steps. First, track your expenses. Just for 1 month, write down where every single dollar goes. Second, create a budget. Now that you know where the money's going, you can start telling it where to go. And third, and this one is non-negotiable, build an emergency fund. So what is an emergency fund? Think of it like your own personal financial safety net. It's a separate savings account with 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses just sitting there. This isn't an investment. It's insurance against, well, life. It's the cash that lets you handle a surprise car repair or a job loss without having to go into debt. It is the buffer that lets you escape the rat race. Okay, but if the steps are so simple, track, budget, save, why is it so incredibly hard to actually do? Well, the answer is all in our heads. It turns out our own brains are often wired to sabotage our best financial plans. First up is something called the ostrich effect. And you know exactly what this is. It's our tendency to basically bury our heads in the sand to avoid bad news. Ever had a big night out and you're just terrified to check your bank account the next day? Yep, that's the ostrich effect. And it stops us from facing the reality of our own consumption.
Next is a fancy-sounding one: hyperbolic discounting. It sounds complicated, but the idea is super simple. Our brains prefer a small reward right now over a much, much bigger reward way down the line. It's why buying those new shoes today feels so much better than putting that same cash into a retirement account you won't touch for decades.
And finally, the big one, social proof, which you probably know as keeping up with the Joneses. We are just hardwired to do what we see other people doing. When our friends get a new car, we suddenly feel like we need one too. And these days, the Joneses aren't just your neighbors. They're every single person on your social media feed, setting this totally impossible standard for consumption.
It really all comes down to this powerful quote: the things you own end up owning you. When your spending is all about social pressure and impulse, your stuff stops being yours. It becomes a prison, tying you to a job you need just to pay for it all. The goal is to own your things, not have them own you.
All right, so once you start getting your consumption under control, then you can finally shift your focus to the other side of the equation, scaling your production. This is where we move beyond just trading hours for dollars. Just look at the difference between these two paths. A standard job is trading time for money. It's linear. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour. Your income grows slowly. But producing at scale? That's about creating assets that work for you, even when you're sleeping. This path has the potential for exponential growth because it's not tied directly to your time. So how do you do it? The formula is actually simple, even if it's not easy. First, you find a problem. Second, you create a solution for that problem. And third, you sell that solution at a massive scale. Think about a successful online business, or a YouTube channel with millions of fans, or a simple software app. They all create value that isn't limited by the clock. And the amazing thing is, the internet has totally changed the game. It gives us this incredible leverage, letting almost anyone produce value and reach a huge audience for next to nothing. The old way, the standard job, is just not the only way anymore. So this is what it all comes down to. The framework is simple. First, master your consumption. Then scale your production. This isn't about becoming a millionaire overnight. It's about making a conscious choice, starting right now. So we'll just leave you with this question. What value will you produce today?